Okay. I would like to say...
Are there any other nominees?
Nominees? I don't know. Bill Clinton for Bhagavatam reciter. We give good classes, yeah. King devotee. Yeah. Let me see now. Okay. I know how this works now. I got to go over here to the edge of that. I'm going to go to Screen Share. Select items to share. Comes up, and I dump the desktop. Okay. So what do you see?
We see your PowerPoint with the bar on the bottom, and there's kind of some overflow on both sides.
Now what do you see?
We're seeing your PowerPoint.
But you should also be seeing my dialogue, my Start Meeting dialogue box now too, I think.
It's grayed out.
Yeah, okay, interesting.
Blocking a portion of the screen.
Okay.
Okay, now we've reduced it to just the slideshow.
Yeah, when the active screen, in this case it's the PowerPoint screen, goes behind, the thing, then it shows up like that. Yeah. It's got to be away from it. And I don't want to, minimize the dialogue box there, but otherwise I can't tell if I'm talking or not. Like that. So, should we start?
Maharaj, please.
Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopi Jana Ballava Girivara Dori.
Gopi Jana Ballava Girivara Dori.
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Jamuna Tira Van Achori.
Jamuna Tira Van Achori.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivara Dori.
Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivara Dori.
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Jamuna Tira Ban Achari.
Jamuna Tira Ban
Achari.
Shri Radha Madhava Astasaki Ki Jai. Prabhupada Ki Jai. Chanya Chandradaya Mandir Ki Jai. Narayanam Namaskrityam.
Narayanam Namaskrityam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devam Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devam Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Udirayat.
Tato Jayam Udirayat.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, according to our calculations here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee,
This is the Śrīmad Bhagavatam class, and text number 1845. And this is for the ISKCON Hawaii Forum, Friday. My goodness, somebody's house is falling down. Yeah. Friday, 2013, October 11th. And I'm Hanumatpresaka Swami, at least temporarily. And Srila Prabhupada is the founder and acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He gave us all these books so we can sit together after he is gone and discuss them and become happy. Okay, so go ahead, robot. Okay, so 1845, please repeat. Tang badham iti upamantriya.
Tang badham iti upamantriya.
Pravishya gajasah vayam.
Pravishya gajasahayam.
Striyascha svapurang yasyan.
Striyascha svapurang yasyan.
Premna rajnya nivarita.
Premna rajnya nivarita.
Boliye.
Tang badham ityupa mantra.
Tang badham ityupa mantra.
Pravishya gajasahvaham.
Pravishya gajasavayam.
Striyascha svapurang yasyan.
Striyascha svapurang yasyan.
Premna rajna ivarita.
Premna rajna ivarita. Tang badham ityupa mantriya.
Tang badham ityupa mantriya.
Pravishya gajahasvayam.
Pravishya gajasavayam.
Striyascha svapurang yasyan.
Striyascha svapurang yasyan.
Premna rajya vivartita.
Premna rajya nivarita.
Tam badham ityupa mantriya.
Tang badham ityupa mantriya.
Pravishya gajasavayam.
Pravishya gajasavayam.
Striyascha svapurang yasyan.
Striyascha svapurang yasyan.
Premna rajna nivaritaha.
Premna rajna nivarita.
Tang badham ityupa mantriya.
Tang badham ityupa mantriya.
Pravishya gajasavayam.
Pravishya gajasavayam.
Striyascha svapurang yasyan.
Striyascha svapurang yasyan.
Premna rajna nivarita.
Premna rajna
Nivarita.
Okay, so one nice game at our age is to try and figure out what the words mean here. It is similar vocabulary. So tum means something like that or something like that. And badam means almond in Hindi, but I don't know what it means here. Iti, thus, probably know that. Upamantriya. The king's counselor is called the mantriya or something like that. So probably means advice. Pravishya, I don't know, sounds familiar. Gajasa, ahyam. Striyash, probably means other ladies. Cha, and Svapuram, probably means own residence. Yasya, maybe thus. And Premna sounds like maybe like of Prema or something. Rajna probably means Maharaj Yudhiṣṭhira. Nivaritaha maybe means like, we call it like advice. Okay, let's check out our speculations. Please repeat. Tam. All those.
All those.
Badham.
Badham.
Accepted.
Accepted.
Iti. Thus. Upamantriya. Subsequently informed. So it is kind of like the counselor who gives advice. Pravishya. Entering. Oh. Gajas vayam. Oh, so here it is. Huh? So this is the palace of Hastināpura.
Hastināpura.
Of course, Hasti means elephant, and I think Gaja also means elephant. So there we go. Striya cha. Other ladies. Svapuram. Own residence. Yasyan. While starting for. Premna. With love. So here's a chance to practice our conjugations, or declension, I guess it would be. Because this is prema means love, and premna means with love. Rajna. Well, here again we have now by the king. Raja and Rajna. It's interesting, huh? Premna and with love, and Rajna is by the king. Nivaritaha. Stopped. Okay. Let's go back to the verse here. Can we go back here? Tamba dham iti upa mantriya pravishya gaharja sahavayam striyascha svapuram yazyan premna raja nivartate. Okay. Translation. Thus accepting the prayers of Śrīmatī Kuntīdevī, the Lord subsequently informed other ladies of his departure by entering the palace, but on preparing to leave, he was stopped by King Yudhiṣṭhira, who implored him lovingly. So please repeat. Thus accepting the prayers of Śrīmatī Kuntīdevī. The Lord subsequently informed other ladies.
The Lord subsequently informed other ladies
of his departure. By entering the palace. But upon preparing to leave. He was stopped by King Yudhiṣṭhira. Who implored him lovingly.
Okay, Maharaj. I have unmuted you.
Yeah.
I'll mute myself.
Okay.
We're ready.
Yeah. We are addicted to PowerPoint shows and making PowerPoint shows like that. Somebody else is addicted to cooking. Arjuna was addicted to being a Kshatriya, like that, you know. And so this is one level of karma yoga. One level of karma yoga is where you can sacrifice the results to Krishna. You know, but you can't sacrifice your mode of working. You've got to be a mother. You know, you've got to be a Kshatriya. You've got to be a a PowerPoint maker, like that. And so I can do it for Krishna, like that, but I can't give it up. You know, I can give it up some, but I get addicted to it. I know I'm spending too much time on these shows and stuff, but I like, you know, seeing how they come out, and maybe I can dovetail this to Krishna. we found this picture. Looks like maybe it's Yudhiṣṭhira, and talking to Krishna there. And so I'm trying to send them to Ramananda Prabhu, and maybe we can get them up like day before or something like that. What else? Let's see. If you go to our web page, let me go over here to the chat button. I'm going to send you a little chat here. www.jayarama.us. Okay. It's our web page, and if you go there, you'll find a it says archives, and you go in the archives, then you just look under SB 1.8.45, and it's there. And you can follow along with this if you haven't got the start meeting like that. Yeah. Okay. So here we are. So, a couple things right away. What is this stupid show? I lost control of my PowerPoint show. Yeah. A couple things right away strike me as interesting. It says that maybe somebody else too, that thus accepting the prayers of Śrīmatī Kuntīdevī. So he accepted them, but she was actually trying to ask him to stay and not leave. And so it was kind of odd that it says that Krishna was accepting her prayers, and he's going to, okay, yes, I understand this, and okay, see you later, like that. So if we look at the flow of the sequence of these prayers and stuff like that, and because we shouldn't get lost, we shouldn't lose sight of the forest from just seeing all the trees in front of our faces. Because there's something about it. It starts at 1-8-18, which is easy to remember because 1-8 is 18. So 1-8-18, her prayers start, and they go all the way up until about here. I guess they finished off at maybe the 2 verses before or something like that. So maybe 1-8-43 or something like that. And I remember Prabhupada says the whole purpose of Kunti Devi's prayers are to figure out how to keep Krishna with them. That's the whole purpose of these prayers. Unless we know the purpose, then of course it doesn't make much sense. And I remember that, but where did she say that? Okay. So now I suspected where it might be, and I found it. So after we were talking about this, my study partner for the Bhakti Bhai Baba, he was Upendra Das. And I was talking today because about we meet individually, our study partner, then we meet with the group, for the Bhakti Bhai Baba. So we're talking about the prayers by we call it the instructions of Maharaj Prithu, which are very important. And he had some realizations, and I had some realizations. And he was saying, "Oh, Maharaj, you're so much more intelligent than I am, and this and that." And I was thinking, well, when did you become a devotee? I think he said something like 2007 or something like that, or something 2005. So he's been a devotee, or 2001. He's been a devotee for 12 years and reading Prabhupada's books for 12 years. And I've been reading him for 40 years. And so I was telling him, let's just look at it, If after another 28 years, you're probably going to be a lot more intelligent than I am in terms of Prabhupada's books. So there is this benefit that even a slow learner, even a dog can take part and dance in ecstasy. So having gone through these prayers so many times, I'm beginning to find out where different things are. Now I know that she's going on, she's describing the scene, she's trying to figure out how to catch Krishna. Do you come because Brahma asks for you? Do you come because Devaki wanted you? Do you come because the kings need you? She's going through all these prayers like that. And then she says, maybe you come to revive the process of hearing and chanting. So at that point, maybe Krishna smiles or blushes or something, and she says, aha, I got you. And that's it. Natishtami Baikunte, how's it go? Something Yogi Nam, which was memorized, Yogi Ma Nabhrideshu. Yeah. Krishna says, I'm not in Vaikuntha, nor am I in the hearts of the yogis, but I'm always where my devotees are chanting my glories. Like he also says, I'm always where, always in the dust, where the feet of my devotees, where they dance, like that, So, yeah. So now she knows she can catch him. He can't go away as long as he'll go on discussing his glories and this kind of stuff. Then he can't get away. And so then she's thinking, well, maybe you should go, but if you do go, all our natural opulence will be lost. These rivers are flowing with water and fertilizing the soil. The minerals are rich. The seas, all these things are nice because you're here. But if you go, then all these things will be lost like that. But then, I don't think it's in the texts, but maybe Vishnu Chakravarti points it out, but Prabhupada points it out. Then she realizes, okay, but if you stay here with my husband's house, but my father's house, will be bereft of your association like that. And so Prabhupada says, lady has two houses. She never gives up her daddy or her teddy bear, and her teddy. And she, but she does also. She also gives herself to her husband in his house, And so she has this struggle. Whereas the guy is kind of cold-hearted, I guess. I guess he never takes up his wife's house so much like that. And of course, it's a big thing, where when they get married, are the kids going to go to the father or to the girl's house, or are they going to go to the husband's house? And different cultures deal with this different ways like that. And in some places, our cultures, they don't go to anybody's house. They just get out of here. Go get your own house. Go get a one-bedroom apartment and get to work. So, big part of our spiritual life is Varna Ashram. So anyway, then she's in this dilemma, because she keeps Krishna there, then he won't go back to Dwarka. So then she just kind of says, hey Govinda, and she says, oh Krishna, just cut my attachment to my father's house, my husband's house, and you just let my attachment just flow to you, and whatever you want to do, you do. Just the way the Ganga flows to the ocean, let me flow to you, and you make these decisions like that. And I think that's pretty much the end. So when she's speculating like that and is talking about, please stay here, I think 35 is where she figures out how to catch Krishna, and 36 or 37 in the purport there is where, it's obvious from the text where Prabhupada says her whole purpose is to keep Krishna from going. So then she has this very final prayer, which is a beautiful summary. Shri Krishna Krishna Saka Vrishni Vrisha Bhavani Drug Dahanapa Varga Virya Go Dvija Go Raksha. O Krishna, O friend of Arjuna, O chief amongst the Yadu dynasty, O destroyer of those political parties who create unrest on the world. You are the protector of the devotees, something like that. You are the Almighty God. I surrender unto you. Really, just fantastic summary. Because this is what we do. You chant, you get into linear space, and try this, you try that, maybe this, maybe that. But at some point, then you get out of linear time and space and go back to, from jnana to dhyana, back to a meditational mode, and pack your baggage up in your icon and take it with you. And so she puts everything in the end of this one whole beautiful verse which summarizes her whole consciousness. And it's different at the end of her journey than it was to start with. Who is Krishna? Oh Krishna, Krishna Saka. I know you, everybody knows you. I guess there must have been some kind of CNN, when Krishna was there. And so every night Krishna must have been on CNN. Oh, today Krishna went to the movies with this girl. Oh, Krishna, this queen. Oh, we interviewed Satyabhama, and she said she knows that Krishna took Rukmini to the movies, but he's actually thinking of her, like that. So Krishna was on. Everybody knew about Krishna. Even archaeologically, as far as I'm reading, all over the world, they're finding remnants of the cult of Vasudeva and Sankarshan. And that's how Krishna was known in Dwarka, as Vasudeva and Balaram and Sankarshan. So people knew about Vasudeva and Sankarshan, and some people worshipped them in Mexico and other places like that. But who is he really? So Kunti's saying, she's starting off, Shri Krishna, Krishna Saka. Oh Krishna, oh friend of Arjuna. Because she knows Arjuna. Arjuna's her kid, her boy. And she knows Arjuna. And so when she wants to know Krishna, what he's really thinking, then she knows my boy Arjuna is going to know him better than me, and so she can get closer association with Krishna through Arjuna. So a very natural conclusion as far as we're understanding, you know. So it says that thus, accepting the prayers of Kuntīdevī, the Lord subsequently informed other ladies of his departure by entering the palace of Hastināpura. You know? So I use, to me, it's kind of what's the word here? It's like a paradox, because she wants to keep him. So maybe he said that I have to go back. Maybe she's accepting that, you know, accepting that Krishna does have to go. But upon preparing to leave, he was stopped by King Yudhiṣṭhira, who implored him lovingly. So maybe Yudhiṣṭhira has more love for Krishna than Kunti does. I can stop him. Or maybe he has less love, and because she's willing to let him go, you know, okay, he's going to go. But Yudhiṣṭhira needs his association. We have many more questions. Okay. Now the purport. It's actually pretty short. No one can make Lord Krishna stay at Hastināpura when he decided to start for Dwarka. But the simple request of King Yudhiṣṭhira that the Lord remain there for a few days was immediately effective. This signifies that the power of King Yudhiṣṭhira was loving affection, which the Lord, there's some kind of like a breeze blowing type noise. Maybe it's the connection, or maybe somebody has their microphone open. I guess we're all muted, I don't know. This signifies that the power of King Yudhiṣṭhira was loving affection. Now it's gone, okay. This signifies the power of King Yudhiṣṭhira was loving affection, which the Lord could not deny. The Almighty God is thus conquered by loving service, and nothing else. The Almighty God is conquered by loving service and nothing else. He is fully independent in all his dealings. But he voluntarily accepts obligations by the loving affection of his pure devotees. So I got the PowerPoint show ready yesterday. I listened to Mother Irmila's class, and simultaneously I work on my show, my presentation. Somebody said usually your mind works about 4 times as fast as talking can go, like that. And so then you can do stuff, or you have to do stuff, otherwise you go floating here and there. But I think that is when people aren't really pouring their hearts into the communication, and because then everything, you have to listen to everything. You have to listen to the tone, you have to listen to the timing, you have to listen to the inclination. You've got to watch the body language, and then it can be fully absorbing. But this guy big memory guy was talking about how to listen. And he was saying taking notes, generating questions, asking if you're going to memorize that, arguing with the guy in your mind while you're going on, So different ways to keep your focus and attention. It's very, he has some books, I forgot his name, he's a famous guy on memory, So, then this morning when I was going over this, looking at it, it's a short purport. What really strikes me is these last 2 things here. The Almighty God is just conquered only by loving service and nothing else. And the next sentence is actually amplification. He is fully independent, not conquered by anybody in all his dealings. But he voluntarily accepts obligations by the loving affection of his pure devotees. And so then this kind of the whole meditation develops in my mind about this, And as I tossed a couple more slides in here, which are not in the not posted yet. Okay. So here I have a picture of one very nice police officer or a military guy receiving a bribe from a criminal-looking type guy with some coins falling on the ground. He is fully independent in all his dealings, but he voluntarily accepts obligations by the loving affection of his pure devotees. So Prabhupada actually brings this point up. It's not like, we're demons. we are demons. That's part of the situation. I don't know how much of a devotee I am, So kind of, in some ways it's kind of, one thing is we all see other people have blind spots. You look at other devotees, people around you, you see that somebody is just really irritated by, by some racial distinction, or somebody else is irritated by some gender distinction, or somebody always and is attached to this or that, and they don't know it, you know. So you see, everybody has blind spots, you know. So therefore, with a half a brain in our head, we can figure out that I also must have blind spots that I don't see. There must be things about my character or my body and everything else which are totally obvious to everybody else around me, but I just can't quite figure it out, you know, so on. So then it's good to, you know, listen to people, you know. So, you know, so therefore it's difficult for us to judge, like, how advanced we are. Many times Prabhupada gives objective standard and stuff like that. Just, you know, maybe there's subtle details here and there, but what's the word? Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaya narottamam devam. No, it's another one like that. Nastaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati yatamashloke bhakti bhavati naistiki. So Prabhupada's talking about this naistiki thing, you know, nishta, being fixed. And he says this is more or less, you know, 80% Krishna conscious. You know. And he defines it as basically every day chanting your rounds, every day following basic sadhana, every day, you know, joining the Sankirtan according to your ability, nature. And so, whoa, that's 80%. Okay, yeah. But maybe the last 20% is tough, you know, or something, you know. So anyway, how much are we engaging in loving devotional service and loving affection? How much are we pure devotees? You know? And Prabhupada says, you know, that somebody might say, oh yeah, Krishna is inclined to his devotees. This is way back in the first canto. This point comes up. It comes up again and again. That it appears that Krishna takes the side of the demigods because they worship him, like, you know, they bribe him, you know, with what, you know, with sacrifices, and I'm going to sacrifice ghee and grains to you. Okay, the demigods are up in heaven, you know, and we're down here on the earth. But the demigods have all this power, but where's it coming from? It's coming from here down in the boiler room. And the captain's way up in the top of the ship and the castle there, and seeing everything and controlling everything. You know, but his power comes from the stokers who are down, you know, shoveling coal into the furnaces and making the boilers run. So the devatas, Indra, Varuna, you know, Agni, their power comes from Marcha Loka, you know, from where we are, because here you can actually do sacrifices. So when these sacrifices go on, they get potency and power from that. You know? So there's a cooperation between, you know, men and demigods. You know? And so therefore, yeah, we can bribe the demigods. Avadi Purvakam is, we can worship the demigods in an incorrect fashion, and kind of, because they're materialistic devotees in some ways. Okay, so sometimes things are going on, you know, things that shouldn't go on are going on, and so we can slip a little extra ghee and grains to Indra and get a little rain where we shouldn't get it, and have a little extra rye so we can make a little whiskey, yeah, so on, you know. But the thing is, the singer Krishna is not obligated by that, but he's obligated by the loving affection of his pure devotees, you know. So the next one we have here is some loving affection of a pure devotee. And the picture has Jehovah up here, you know, with his long beard, and shooting off rays of effulgence. And I guess he's kind of in a heart there, it looks like. I didn't notice that, you know. But this is you know, this is the Christian idea of God. He's got to be an old man like that, you know. And he can't really get it together to get, like, you know, a good set of clothes. So he's got some kind of, like, you know, robe and it's like a piece of cloth, and it looks like a robe which goes all the way down like that. And also his barber, he hasn't got much to go going in the way of barber. I guess he's the most renounced or something, you know. But anyway, it's nice. It's kind of like, he's kind of an aesthetic type guy, you know. So the Christian idea. But on the left here we found this picture of this little girl with her pony, like that, a little baby doll, like that. And this reminds me of one devotee, Lakshmanath Das, if you know him. He said that he had a girlfriend once when he was in college, this and that. And she told him, no, this was later. I guess he knew her, like all the way time after college and everything else like that, and just kind of stayed in touch with her. So she told him at some point that when she was a little girl, maybe like 5 years old or something, her mother told her, she said, if you really want anything really badly, all you have to do is go sit on Daddy's lap and give him a big hug and a big kiss. and you can ask him for it, he'll give it to you. You know. So she said a few days later she was really in a mood with getting a puppy. So she went and sat on Daddy's lap and gave him a big hug and a big kiss and asked Daddy if she could have a puppy. And before the sun set, she had a puppy. Like that. So, but he wasn't greedy or so on. But she said she'd do this every now and again, And she said even finally when her and her husband were married and he was struggling a little bit there, she still went and sat on Daddy's lap and said, "Oh," gave a big hug and a big kiss on his cheek and said, "Oh, Daddy, Bob and I are really struggling this way and that way. And do you think you could actually loan us the money to get a car?" And Daddy said, "Well, okay." So here we have this cute little girl with her pony and her little dolly and everything else, But how much are the Dollar General Store truck is driving out here? This thing is 53 feet long. My God. So anyway, this is how much is our devotion, our love and affection for God? How much is it really love and affection for God? It's just this thing. This really strikes me because personally, right where I'm at in my devotional life, because in some ways I know, this is what I'm going to do. I'm faking this, faking this bhakti, or at least maybe raganuga. I can keep a nice devotional attitude towards Krishna, towards Prabhupada, towards my deities, and towards the Prabhupada, I can keep an attitude, nice devotional attitude, but sometimes my mind becomes just materialistic. I become like we call it like a teenager. I'm tired of Prabhupada. I'm not going to do any more like that. But Urmila does this better than me. Yeah. But that's it. We become rebellious subordinates. Come on, you've already asked me to do so much today, Prabhupada. But I see that. That it's there, and then I can grab my mind and bring it under control, and then try and have a proper attitude. And in some ways, I can see this is not me. This is like Hanuman. He was shot full of arrows. Okay, what would he do? He'd just shake them off and say, "Jai Ram," and go back into the battle. So all these lusty ideas, these selfish ideas, they come, but I can see at heart that some of these are not me. I just don't want these. This is Maya, Cupid, blasting away at me. And before I would identify with them, and now I could identify with them. I could be like this and that. But a lot of them I can just like shake them off and say, "Come on, this is not me. I didn't want this idea." So it's penetrating, the process here. But how much? We got to really be in the mode of goodness. To see the real, every now and again to see our heart, and see what's there, and then adjust, and then maybe we can go back into the mode of passion for preaching, go back into the mode of ignorance for preaching, But because we have our foundation there, we got a good connection. We tie our rope down to our basic devotional platform, and then we know what we can do, going down into the mode of ignorance and passion, for Krishna's service. Or when we're going to face our attachments, because we've been in the mode of goodness, we know now. Okay, I just like myself. I'm first time in my life as a devotee, pretty much, I've been one place for one time, so on. And so I have a lot of chance to really see, what is my devotional level, free from the association of external association with the devotees, and it's very useful, in terms of I see that I have to have a certain amount of intellectual gratification every day. And I have a really big brain. Ha ha ha. Other places I'm a complete fool. I just embarrass myself left and right. But in terms of analogical ability, not memory, I have really good analogical ability. Okay. So I have to have every day associating with really well organized things. I got to read the Britannica every day or something like that to see a real well-written article on on history or something, And this is materialistic attachment. But okay, so maybe I can dovetail it to Krishna's service. I should be doing something else. I should be, but can I do it? Can I not do it? Am I really being sincere in trying to do my best? or did I really want the pony, little pony like that? Thank you, Daddy. Yeah, I love you, but not as much as my pony. Okay, but I do love you. Okay, so that was kind of came up today, and I think is really central for me, very useful. This whole thing of what is Maharaj Yudhiṣṭhira's position? Because this is coming up. Because in the Bhakti by Baba now, this is the lotus feet of Krishna, cantos 1 and 2, and this is it. But we should be qualified to maybe go beyond this and realize that that Krishna wants to take a walk. We're here at the lotus feet, or Krishna is going someplace, or he is doing something with his legs, his hands, his eyes, his head, his face. And so even if our service is at Krishna's lotus feet eternally, still we should have some idea about what's going on, in a higher aspect like that. So even if we're like Hanuman and we're fixed at Krishna's lotus feet, still it's good to read the 2nd canto, 3rd canto, 4th canto, 5th canto. And so in our Bhakti by Baba program, we're on the speeches of Maharaj Prithu, and I think I have that next. Back to the bribery guy here. Okay. Yeah. So these speeches of Maharaj Prithu are very relevant. Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, he made up a whole curriculum for a university, and he was going to do it with the Bhaktivedanta Institute in Berkeley in San Francisco, and he sent it off to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada reviewed it. He apparently read through it, maybe like 3 pages more, and he wrote back, with specific comments. It shows the importance of education to Prabhupada. And okay, Prabhupada got it, read it. And also in terms of Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti by Baba, those were suggestions from Prabhupada, the content, and I think he even said these are some suggestions you could study. But the other collections of curriculum apparently are quite acceptable, if we do them properly in terms of studying Krishna consciousness systematically, academically. So Prabhupada commented. He said, in terms of physics, we'll study the we'll study the instructions of Kapila, and then he said, in terms of political science, we'll study the instructions of Maharaj Prithu. So we got to that in our Bhakti by Baba this week. We're doing 1 chapter a week. And it's just overwhelming. I've again read these things this way and that way, and now I'm beginning, as we're going through it systematically, to really appreciate this. And one thing is coming up is that it really appears that there are many examples of mixed devotional service in the Bhagavatam. And maybe, in the first 2 cantos it's going to be a very fundamental mixed devotional service. But as we go higher, we get into more and more subtle contaminations and subtle things like that as we go higher to Krishna's face. So Maharaj Prithu bringing up so many questions. He was so angry at Bhumi, who was a woman, and she was in the shape of a cow, but she was willing to enter into a dialogue with him, about why she wasn't taking care of the citizens like that. She was talking, and her first reasons may not have been all perfect, but she was willing to dialogue about it, talk about it. But even after that, Maharaj Prithu was so angry, he was trembling in rage at her, like that. So she must have been terrified beyond human understanding what was happening at this point, like that. So with a bow and arrow, and I imagine most people wouldn't like to have an arrow shot through your heart. So and then later on it says he actually was angry and envious, just like Indra, so on. So what is his position, And later on there are more and more indications, other things like that, So more advanced, more stimulating, more discussion, and we're beginning to realize, are we ready for this? Are we ready to go on to the next canto? 1 week, this chapter really seems like, honestly speaking, like it would take maybe about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, maybe a month, to really deal with at a proper pace. And I guess it's not just Prabhupada, I guess it's the Acharyas, but in the purports, they're just like tsunami waves. Each purport will discuss maybe 5 different things with most important citations, and when they're discussing each point, it's such an incredible precise, penetrating description of what is a Kshatriya duty, what is a Brahmana duty, what is the position and relation of Varna Ashram. And so much of it seems to be engaged in karma yoga. He's telling his citizens, do your duty in Varna Ashrama, and God will be pleased with you. This was rejected by Ramananda Roy, and by Lord Chaitanya, Ramananda Roy. As go higher, he said, it's superficial. But so gradually it becomes worked out. Yeah, that we should engage in karma. We should be good people, this and that will lead us to wisdom, jnana, understand what is the world. And then somewhere along the line, which came first, the chicken or the egg, we'll be able to become devotees, engage in devotional service to some degree. We'll be able to offer the results of our karma, Kshatriya Dharma, Stri Dharma, to Krishna through the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas of Vaishnavas, they'll engage our karma like that. And we'll feel it. We'll see Krishna, we'll see the result. And we'll get prosperity, and we'll get the sense of gratification that we need in our current condition. We'll get, I discovered, for example, my intellectual research. It's kind of like I've got to have this intellectual, adventure of researching, in my nature. So we're doing Carl Jung now, which if somebody can give us information about their thesis, their master's thesis, we'd like it. And it's advancing, Carl Jung in the Bhagavatam, and that's kind of led us into we rediscovered psychology today. I'm not sure how valuable that's going to be, but it's still going on. It looks like there's a good collection of articles, and also hypnosis. And so you're seeing what you start to do. You start to enter into the current dialogue, And I saw a whole thing by National Geographic where they're rejecting all kinds of mysticism, and they're saying, "Oh, is this actual mystical powers coming from God or something like that, or is it just self-hypnosis?" So they mentioned self-hypnosis as the option for practically speaking everything other than straight outright cheating, But then what is hypnosis? Yeah, okay. So then you challenge them on this, and then if you look at the Britannica then, which is accepted as an authority, and it's exactly what I thought it was, nobody has still figured out what hypnosis is or how it works like that. On this level, it's very easy to point out that they're completely in the dark, about how the mind works and everything else. How the brain works, okay. You've got something going on, but even not much there. So okay, everybody has their nature, their gratification, their necessities, like that. And so then we have to get this from Krishna. And so we're not pure devotees. We're worshipping Him because we want sense gratification. But if we do it in a dignified fashion with a king who will keep us in line, who will scare us, and the Brahmanas, then it's dignified, it's civilized, and the karma will lead us to jnana. We'll understand what's going on. We'll become intelligent people. And then, Vasudevi, Bahunam Jamananante. Then we'll be able to become, devotees, to become jnanis and take the devotional service. So Maharaj Prithu, he says here, the Lord's lotus feet are described as Kama Dug Angri Pankajam, because they have all power to fulfill the desires of everyone. A devotee is happy even in this life because although in material existence we have many needs, all his material needs are satisfied. And when he at last quits his body, he goes back home, back to Godhead without a doubt. So that's pretty much, seems like liberation, sense gratification, liberation. And I'm looking, that's what I want, yeah, but I want something more. So next verse, it goes into explaining that this is just the beginning process. Prithu Maharaj is talking to the citizens who are on this level. But it's all part of the very sure pathway. So if you get sucked up in this, take birth in Satya Yuga or whatever it is, then it will lead you then to actually Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, like that. And many people were already apparently engaged in this, it says. Actually, it says that most of the citizens were actually engaged in Shravanam, Kirtanam. And the people who needed the Varna Ashram Dharma, and then the Karma Yoga, which follows it, were very few, So you can imagine if you go to the market to buy something, and somebody's there at the marketplace and looking at the vegetables next to you, and you just say, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. And the guy says, Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram. It's like the majority of the people in the world were Majjhimadhikaris. It'd be weird like that. It's a weird, strange place, you know. If most of the people you know, and you know, you're driving down the road, everybody else, you go out walking at night, what do you expect to encounter? You expect to encounter some devotee, you know. Well, what's your tradition? Like that, you know. Yeah. So that was the environment. And maybe living in ISKCON, the ISKCON environment is like that, you know. So we have this opportunity. So at that point, what happens? What's the basis? The basis is that Krishna comes. Krishna comes aggressively and gives us whatever we need to advance at that point. A good king, you know, good Brahminical culture, a Bhaktilata Bija, and if we take it, you know, take the mercy when it's shoved in front of us, then we can go to the next level, you know. And eventually our desire, our necessities for sense gratification are diminished. They go right into our service, you know. Everything becomes more connected to sadhana bhakti. We become jnanis. We see the world in a broad aspect. We see what's going on behind it. There is a controller. We're coordinated. And then we come to pure devotional service. And then Prabhupada says basically 16 rounds, 4 principles, 3 Gayatris. This is all in these prayers by Lord Kapila, instructions of Prithu Maharaj. And chanting constantly. That's what I mean. It's such a fantastic summary. Chant your rounds for the 4 principles strictly. Do your Gayatris. And chant all the time. All day long you should be chanting like that. He said then you'll be a Brahmin. Then you'll be a Brahmin Vaishnava. You know? And then you can naturally give people Krishna and guide society. And then the GBC secretaries and temple presidents should be respectful of you if you're doing this. Here's my little political thing here. That I think we need to, you know, identify the role of administration in ISKCON as more Kshatriya, and the sannyasis and Brahmins have to get their trip together and act like it, you know. And then we have this proper situation like that. Well, adjusting is a little better. But we're all devotees, and that's much more important. So anyway, that's kind of like a summary of our presentation on this verse here. We had something else here going ahead here, you know, because also here's another chariot about to leave here with the crew and Krishna Balaram, and then all of the gopis prayers. You know, but there won't be time for that. He's crying. Oh, Krishna's leaving. Yeah. And they're accusing fate of just being a capricious guy who gives them Krishna and takes him away. Yeah. Once we've seen his beautiful cheeks and beautiful smile, how can we live without him? Yeah. And they all want to love Krishna. They don't want to get anything from Krishna. They don't want Krishna to go because they think Krishna's going to suffer if he goes to Mathura. Like that. Yeah. So very beautiful prayers. Another example of okay. So the gopis are another example of Krishna. You know, a lot of these things take place on chariots. You may have noticed. Krishna. A lot of these classes take place, you know, with 1 foot on the chariot and 1 foot on the ground. So the gopis are an example of also trying to catch Krishna, and it's a whole different comparison and analysis with Kunti's prayers like that. Tam badam iti upamantriya pravishya gajasah vayam striyascha swaparam yasyan premna rajnan nivaritaha. So thank you very much. Here's our webpage, www.jayarama.us, not UA, if you want to kind of contact anything else. So any questions or comments? I have some complaints, but...
Alright, just give me a minute while I'm switching over. Alright, now I've unmuted everybody. As far as I know. Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Maharaj? We have 23 devotees on right now. Anybody?
Maharaj, I would like to make a comment.
Okay, please. From Amsterdam.
Yes. Thank you for class. Please accept my obeisances. You shortly tipped on the point of hypnosis, and I was just reading about it in the book of Michael Cremo, Human Devolution, and he has 2 chapters, 5 and 6, who were sort of devoted to that whole ideology of that there are so many anomalies in the world of science today. And actually it started to dawn upon me that whole topic of hypnosis, but he mentions much more in the field of parapsychology, that those are really good arguments to preach for about reincarnation, actually, because they're very real. They have been verified by Nobel laureates, big people in their fields, professors, all kinds of high established people, and it's been going on since the middle of the 19th century, actually. So it's almost 200 years of anomalies that are in the field of subtle things, and they have been verified, and still everybody muffles them away. And I think this is, for us as a movement, an aspect that we can really press upon to gain acceptance for our philosophy.
That's why I'm doing it, but I'm doing it again partly because I'm addicted to it. So it's my nature, you know. Somebody else is going to preach, going to decide that prasadam distribution is the most essential thing for preaching, and I won't disagree. You know, you have good prasadam distribution, the book distribution will follow. If you preach these intellectual people like that, the hypnotists, the book distribution will follow. You know, so partly my thing is a karma yoga thing. Okay, but that's what I should do. You know, yeah. And so I agree. You know, this is a very nice area. If you look at it, it goes all the way back to, I think, Kant. You know, Kant was one of the first person really brought up the idea of the subconscious, and then later on Freud picked it up. And then later Carl Jung, and so Carl Jung is the person we're dealing with, because Prabhupada said amongst all of them he seems to have the most sense like that. But yeah, it's a whole. Again, a lot of people, you know, everybody's different, and so some people don't even know they have a mind. I'm not joking. That's like what it is. It's like they're just absorbed in their gross life, and they carry on, and you know they're absorbing their lower bodily functions, and but at the same time too, they're human beings, and if you put them in the right condition and make sure they got the good boss, and they got a king who will, like, you know kick him in the rear end if they don't act properly, then they'll act properly, and they'll be glad they got a boss like that. They expect someone to keep after them with a stick in the air, you know, and when they got that, they're happy, you know. And if they don't have that, then they complain. Hey, you're supposed to keep me in line. It's not my fault. You know, and when they do that, then they can be as pure devotees as anybody. You know, yeah. So, but intellectual preaching, academic preaching, it's one aspect, and it has its advantage because using the ideas that everybody else follows these ideas, and so the writers and stuff start writing common stories and books and novels, and the advertisers and this and that. You know. So preaching in the area of intellectuals, and this is going beyond intellectuals. This is going to the point of mystics and mysticism. It's going beyond jnana to dhyana, like that. The dhyanis. Yeah.
Thank you.
Krishna.
Does anyone else have anything?
Krishna.
Anyone?
Going once. Going twice.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for the class. Your classes are always so good. And I didn't even get the PowerPoint. I tried to look at it yesterday, but my computer gave a message that said, we don't read PPTX. So I don't even know what that means. But anyway.
What operating system do you have?
Windows 7.
Oh, maybe because I think see, PPT is PowerPoint and PPTX was the later version. So probably not the operating system. Probably you have an older version of Microsoft Windows. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Which is interesting because I could save it. I could have saved it in a PPT format. I could have saved it in an older format. So I'll do that. I'll save them in the older format from now. I learned how to turn them into movies. I'm working on that now. I learned how to turn the PowerPoint shows into movies. So I'm working on that now. Yeah.
So even though I didn't have the PowerPoint, I very much appreciated your class, and I really appreciated what you said. You yourself admitted to being addicted to like the Britannica articles, and that's the way I feel sometimes. I just get addicted to information in the material world, knowledge, and I would like to do a little more dovetailing into my service. I mean, I used to teach my children, but now they're grown. I'd like to use that more. I'd like to use everything in the material world more for Krishna.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, because it's it's different levels of karma yoga. I mean, it's kind of why it's confusing, because some places at the beginning it's karma yoga, and later on it becomes karma yoga. So in the beginning we're really working on the karma, and later on it disappears. We're just doing it because we can do anything for Krishna, whatever Krishna wants. But no, okay. So Krishna wants Arjuna to act according to his karma. Why not? That's your nature. You got the ability. You got this tool, so use it. But he doesn't have to. Arjuna could do something else for Krishna. So we've got to kind of figure out how much is our attachment and how much is because it's just our nature, and it's our Sankirtan nature, and then it's okay. I mean, I think it's very natural, for us to be engaged in service, which is natural for us. It makes sense that Krishna is going to engage people according to whatever your nature and your ability is, and stuff like that. I was in South America. I started going there. That is my pioneering spirit. My grandparents, great-grandparents, great-grandparents and grandparents pioneered Arizona, and I was realizing I've adopted so many qualities of my mother. I said the boy gets the mother's qualities, the girl gets the father's qualities. And so, pioneering South America. So I was going to say, oh, Maharaj, you're a psychologist. We got a big lecture. One lady, she's dean of the school of liberal arts, before she was head of the psychology, and she's asked if some devotee can come and talk about psychology and Krishna consciousness. And so, my God, it's like, dying and going to heaven for me or something else. I made this fantastic presentation up about Sankhya and everything else, analysis.
First name is Howie, and my last name is Wellfeld, W-E-L-F.
Okay, Howie Wellfeld. Hey, can you mute your microphone? Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So anyway, we got to the university, went right in there. There were about 400 students there, And I looked up, and in America, psychology is about 50% girls, 50% boys. So I looked up, and it was 97% girls. Like that. There was like maybe 5 guys there, 10 guys, and the whole thing. And then suddenly I realized, oh my God, in South America, psychology is a girl's curriculum, So I kind of like just tossed my lecture notes over my shoulder. Forget it, The big analytical, logical thing is not going to cut it with these girls, So I went into stories and telling all kinds of stories about to illustrate the points and emotional experiences, and we were all kind of crying a little bit and stuff, and it worked very well, So everybody has their particular nature. That's what karma yoga means. And so Maharaj Prithu was saying, and Prabhupada said, we don't have to be Ramanuja Acharya or Lord Chaitanya. So he says in one of his purports here, he said we just have to be ourselves and be honest about it. And so whatever our level is, and if we're still entangled with, if we're fortunate enough to be entangled in Varnashram Dharma, instead of being beasts below it, if we're fortunate enough to be entangled in Varnashram, and not fortunate enough to be, above that, okay, just admit it, accept it, act honestly, and you can please Krishna as much as Radharani, you know, by honestly acting from your position, like that, and so on, to be the nicest devotee in the world. You know. So, other comments, questions? Very nice prayers, you know, like that.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Jana Spriha.
Ah, okay, Hare Krishna.
We had a Bhagavad Gita class a couple of days ago, and the question was asked about when somebody gets a heart transplant, what happens to the spirit soul?
I think he probably even said it. He said it's like changing the chair. You know, you're attached to your subtle body, your mind, your intelligence, and that's attached to your particular set of senses. Your subtle body, who am I, this and that, this and that, this and that, is very much tied into your particular karma, your particular body, your senses, your prana, your neurons, your memories. They're all tied into it. So to change the heart is the physical muscle, because the heart's not the muscle. I mean, we're talking about the heart. We're talking about the center of the mind. But to change the muscle there doesn't have a whole lot of effects. So basically, it's like you're you know, the one leg on your chair is broken. So you're sitting there at a totally distorted angle, and someone comes in with another chair they took from one neighbor, like that, whose house burned down, and they say, "Hey, we got this for you. Would you like it?" You look at it, you say, "Okay," you know. So you get up and you stand up for one moment, and they put the chair down and you sit down again. And then, of course, you know, the neighbor may come over and say, "Hey, that's my chair," you know, like that, give it back. Or his grandson may come over and get a fight for it or something, you know. But so that happens, yeah. There's karma involved in getting the heart and stuff like that. But it's you, the same person, the same subtle body, who's occupying the new chair, like that.
The Srila Prabhupada said something in a lecture that is like moving from one house to another.
I think that's more like changing the whole body. You know, maybe he may have said something like that, but as I remember, he also said it's like changing the seat, you know, like the chair. Yeah. Because all these things, basically, as far as, you know, kind of we're concerned, this is the mind-body problem, you know, which is not really a problem at all. You know, the heart they're talking about is the heart you see, you know, the muscle. Okay, yeah, but that's not what I see. What I experience in my heart is what I feel. So I may feel my heart beating like anything after I've been running, or I may have like arrhythmias or that kind of stuff, you know. And normally I just feel good, you know. And so what I feel is the prana, which makes up the heart, and stuff like that. So when it's changed, it happens, yeah. All that prana is stopped, you know. All the other prana that's relating to it is just like not working. So of course you're anesthetized, frozen, everything else. And then they wire it back up. And then you got like a new the prana there, and you've got to integrate with that prana, and they do, you know, very tight matching from DNA and stuff like that, you know. So it's very interesting. Our whole philosophy really sheds a lot of light on these transplants and stuff. You want to get into it?
Thank you so much. I have another question. Are you familiar with Joseph Atwell?
No, I'm not.
He's been writing this thing on October 19th. They're having this big hypnosis in London, and they got historians, archaeologists, a whole group of people that's doing this big presentation how the whole Jesus is a fictitious character.
Acha. That's interesting. Yeah. Some people say that Shakespeare didn't write the plays, you know, that Christopher Marlowe or somebody else wrote them. They get all these reasons like this and that. So they asked Mark Twain, you know, do you think that the plays, you know, that Shakespeare was the author of Hamlet and all this stuff, you know? And he said, I think that the works of Shakespeare were written by Shakespeare or somebody else of that name. So what do we know about Jesus Christ? Basically, the Bible and everything else, you know. So you know, Jesus Christ was Jesus Christ or somebody else of that name, you know, so on, you know, the body of Lord. And then of course so many people like they accessing this and that, you know. But it's archaeology and history aren't dead. They're discovering so many things, you know, new things all the time. And of course, what do they look at? What do they filter? You know, Michael Cremo and Sadaputta here. The paradigm's changing. Our ideas, Prabhupada's ideas, are gradually entering in. I think the whole idea of evolution is now being minimized, even in the Britannica, looking at everything in terms of evolution. So they're starting to look at other cultures that, yeah, maybe there were cultures with more advanced technology before us. Maybe there were cultures with more advanced philosophical and religious ideas than we had. And they're discovering, oh God, maybe you know this. One thing was they discovered like some guy's digging a well and he goes right through into the earth and goes down. There's a tunnel, and it's all this in the Middle East, of course. And it's maybe, I don't know, maybe like 6 miles or something like that of underground city, 5, 6 different levels, and with gigantic doors, and with no remnants. Not like, you know, some dead bodies here and there, and old cloth and this and that. The whole thing is completely clean. You know? So this archaeological and history is also an area where it's not dead. And as they discover these things, you know, then our history, our philosophy supplies this perspective. You know. Yeah. So I guess maybe any final question here. Maybe we should be going. You know.
All right. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Okay. Thank you all very much. We'll go on with. So then you're continuing on. We're almost finished, no? And then we 52 verses, I guess. So, okay. So that means maybe one more week of Kunti's prayers. Yeah.
When we finish the next chapter 9, we're going to go to Canto 2. That's a long story, but anyway.
Oh yeah, because you didn't do this before, right? That's why.
We lost the recording, so.
Okay. So thank you all very much. Please accept our obeisances and forgive our offenses and give us some blessing to advance in devotional service.
Thank you for your association, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Joy.